Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the really fascinating world of alternative fuels. But we aren't just going to look at the vehicles they power. We're going deep into the organic chemistry and the real-world physical properties that actually make them tick. So, whether you're an engineering enthusiast or maybe you're just curious about the invisible molecules pumping through our energy grid, you are absolutely going to love this.
You know, when we hear the word gas, it's super easy to just lump everything into one invisible floating category. But here's the reality. Not all gases are created equal. The true power, efficiency, and safety of an alternative fuel, well, they don't actually come from the engine it's put into. They come from its microscopic molecular structure. Today, we're challenging some assumptions to figure out which molecular profile truly holds the key to the future of global transportation.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the chemical building blocks, look at physical properties and storage, dive into combustion and energy efficiency, and finally wrap up with emissions, cost, and impact. Let's get right into it.
Okay, Section 1, the chemical building blocks. We're looking at methane versus propane and butane.
Let's establish exactly what we're dealing with so we're all on the same page. CNG, or compressed natural gas, is essentially pure methane. It's extracted straight from natural gas reserves or renewable biogas. Now, LPG, or liquefied petroleum gas, is an entirely different beast. It's predominantly a mixture of propane and butane, and we actually collect it as a byproduct of petroleum refining.
So let's take a quick look at our organic chemistry cheat sheet. Just focus on the carbon atoms for a second. CNG is methane, that's CH4, just one single carbon atom, which makes it the simplest, lightest hydrocarbon in existence. LPG, on the other hand, relies on propane, with 3 carbons, and butane, with 4. I really want you to keep those numbers in mind, because that heavier, longer carbon chain in LPG is literally the root cause of almost every single physical difference we are about to explore. Moving right along to Section 2, physical properties and storage, or how chemical formulas dictate real-world physics.
Remember that single carbon atom in CNG? Well, because of it, this gas is incredibly light. It has a density of roughly 0.55 relative to air. That means if a CNG tank leaks, the gas just rises up and dissipates harmlessly into the atmosphere. But LPG? Because of those extra carbon atoms we just talked about, it's got a density of about 1.52 relative to air. It's heavy. If LPG leaks, it sinks. It pools along the ground, flows right into drains, and accumulates in low-lying areas, which creates a massive fire hazard. In fact, this exact density difference is why vehicles equipped with LPG are actually banned from entering a lot of underground car parks, while CNG vehicles can just drive right in.
And this brings us to the next major hurdle, storage pressure. To actually make these gases usable, we have to compress them. Because LPG is a heavier hydrocarbon, it condenses into a liquid super easily at a relatively low pressure, around 2 megapascals. But to get a useful amount of tiny, lightweight CNG into a tank, you have to squeeze it incredibly hard, maintaining it in a gaseous state at a staggering 20 to 22.5 megapascals. That requires massive, thick-walled, incredibly heavy storage tanks compared to the much lighter steel tanks you can get away with for LPG.
But here's the catch. Even with all that extra pressure, LPG absolutely wins the space race. It boasts a volumetric energy density of about 25 megajoules per liter. Because you're storing it as a liquid, it packs a massive punch. CNG, even compressed at those extreme high pressures, only gives you about 9 megajoules per liter. So LPG is giving you nearly 3 times the energy in the exact same physical space. If you want a really long cruising range without losing your entire car boot to a giant tank, LPG has a severe advantage here.
Okay, let's jump into Section 3, combustion and energy efficiency. It is time for the stoichiometric math.
All right, remember our carbon atom cheat sheet? Here is exactly where that math pays off. To burn any fuel perfectly, you need a precise mixture of oxygen. Because the methane in CNG is just such a simple, elegant molecule, it only requires an air-to-gas ratio of about 10 to 1 for complete combustion. LPG, which is stacked with those heavier propane and butane molecules, demands way more oxygen. It requires a 25 to 1 ratio to burn properly. It literally needs 2.5 times more air just to do its job.
Achieving that perfect combustion is a really delicate balancing act called stoichiometry. If your engine gives LPG too little air, you don't just end up with a weak engine, you actively generate unburned fuel, smoke, and deadly carbon monoxide. So, getting that perfect heat-generating reaction requires absolute precision.
Let's look at the sheer elegance of CNG combustion. 1 molecule of methane plus 2 molecules of oxygen perfectly yields 1 molecule of carbon dioxide and 2 molecules of water vapor. That is it. It's incredibly clean. You aren't leaving behind some toxic soup of heavy hydrocarbons. You are mostly just exhausting water vapor and CO2.
So how does all this chemistry translate to actual engine efficiency? Let's check out the data from the Nigerian Journal of Renewable Energy Research. Petrol burns fast, about 32 minutes per kilogram, but it's super inefficient, right? It has a relative efficiency index of just 0.69. LPG burns slower, striking a great balance with an index of 1.49. But CNG, its simple molecular structure makes it the tortoise in this race.
It has the slowest, steadiest combustion rate at 97 minutes per kilogram, which generates the highest long-term efficiency index of 1.82. It burns slower, but man, it lasts much longer. Finally, let's zoom out to Section 4, Emissions, Cost, and Impact. This is the real-world verdict. Because CNG is simply carbon and hydrogen, its emissions profile is just astonishingly pure. We're talking fractional amounts of carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxides and absolutely zero detectable sulfur dioxide or hydrogen sulfide. None. It also slashes fine particulate matter by up to 90% compared to diesel. Now, LPG is still way cleaner than traditional petrol, for sure, but because of its refining origins, it does retain trace sulfur compounds and produces slightly higher carbon monoxide.
Now, let's talk economics, because we all care about our wallets. The objective financial analysis here is extremely clear. Because natural gas is so abundant and requires significantly less processing than petroleum derivatives, CNG is noticeably cheaper. In the experimental trial, CNG emerged as the most cost-effective fuel at just 20.83 naira per megajoule. LPG was slightly higher at roughly 22 naira, and traditional petrol was the most expensive at over 27 naira per megajoule.
Bringing all these data points together, the scientific researchers presented a really clear summation of the evidence. To quote the journal directly here, overall, CNG stands out as the cleanest, most sustainable, and most economical fuel alternative evaluated. It wins on emissions, and it for sure wins on running cost.
But, as we've seen today, engineering is literally always about trade-offs. You have to weigh the incredibly clean, cheap, and safe reality of methane against those massive, heavy, space-consuming tanks required to hold it. And on the flip side, you have to weigh the amazing energy density and driving range of propane against its heavier-than-air flammability risks. So, knowing that these unchangeable chemical properties completely dictate their ideal use cases, which molecular profile do you think will actually best suit the future of global transportation? It's a fascinating question to chew on. Thank you so much for joining me for today's explainer, and keep exploring the science behind the systems that power our world.